The Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission is set for hearings today on the role played by the credit rating agencies in this crisis. Among the star witnesses, Warren Buffett, whose Berkshire Hathaway is a major shareholder in Moody's, also Moody's chairman and CEO, Raymond McDaniel. Doug Holtz-Eakin is a member of the commission, and he joins us this morning. Doug, it's great to see you.
Good morning, Becky.
Good morning. What are you hoping to find out, and what are you hoping to hear this morning?
Well, I think the obvious question is, number one, how did the ratings agencies do their job? We have witnesses ranging from analysts who were in charge of developing the tools they used through the management structure, and then obviously to major shareholders. So we can get an insight into the culture within Moody's, which is, we hope, representative of the culture in the industry as a whole, find out about the techniques, those that worked, those that didn't. And then the obvious large question is just how important were ratings in the crisis itself. And we will have Mr. Buffett, which is a wonderful opportunity. This is an investor who says he doesn't pay attention to ratings. Nevertheless, he is the largest shareholder, Berkshire is, in Moody's, which is a giant in the industry.
Right. I guess I wondered, I noticed all the people that you had on the commission, only Moody's represented. Why no one from S&P or from Fitch's?
As typical with these hearings, we can't have the whole industry in the room. So we make a judgment about, can we get insight into the industry as a whole from the people we call. S&P has appeared many times during different hearings in Washington. We thought we'd learn more by looking at Moody's, the largest in the industry, and so we concentrated on them.
Obviously, there were some serious problems with the ratings agencies. Do you have any ideas before you head into this about what you think needs to be done?
You have some questions about the basic techniques, and the sort of boring testimony will be about, what correlations did you worry about? Because as we learned, a lot of these investments all went south at the same time. Then there are issues about the marketing, the culture. Is there a genuine conflict of interest? What will be the future of this model for the ratings industry? I think those are all fair questions and ones we really need to dig in on.
Doug, there have been a lot of different procedures that have been brought up, or different models that have been proposed, whether that be the government stepping in and taking over this, whether that be whether that be companies paying into pools and that money going to pay for some of these ratings. What's your gut sense about what the best setup is? Because the conflict of interest inherent with this is that the customers who are hoping to be rated are required to pay these companies, and that seems to be the inherent conflict of interest.
One of the things that we, or at least I, learned during this is that it wasn't always that way. Although the industry has been around for a long time, having the seller of the securities, the issuer, pay for the rating really began in the 70s, and it stemmed from the fact that once a rating was out there, it was difficult to keep it private, and so trying to sell it on a subscription basis really wasn't working. So you have a real business model problem. It's not unique to ratings. It's out there for accounting firms. It's out there for law firms when they issue opinions. So you've got a tough tightrope to walk on providing public information, but doing it in a way that is both a business model and provides some due diligence in getting it right. So yeah. I don't have an easy answer to this one. It's a hard one.
There are other suggestions, though, Douglas. I mean, keep the model, right? Keep the pay for model, but be assigned an issuer. So you're kind of like, NBA players can't choose the referee, but those referees still make the calls.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I mean, we know that these companies competed in part on the basis of their reputations, and they had an interesting quality. They built that up over years, rating very different kinds of things: municipal bonds, corporate debt, and then suddenly got into this structured finance world with repeat customers and what turned out to be a devastating housing bubble. The question is, have we drawn too much in the way of conclusions and put too much evidence on that one recent episode? Or if you look at the longer span of history, is there a quality competition here that makes sense?
Or is it a situation where maybe the government shouldn't be requiring that pension funds and others use these ratings agencies?
You hear that argument all the time, and I have a lot of sympathy for that. If you write into statute or rule that you have to have a rating, and it has to be a AAA rating or something that's investment grade, you generate an automatic demand. And any business loves it when the government says you got to buy my product, but it doesn't produce great competition.
Right. All right, Doug, we're going to be watching today. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.